Team tradition, shoe shine the rookies.
I do it.
Have you ever been cut yet?
Never been caught yet.
Never.
He's the best.
Have you ever been shoe shine?
Oh, great.
I've been shoe shine.
Who got you?
Krujelinski and Lummer.
Yeah, it's great to be able to do it that way too. You know, just bring in one guy at a time, and then he gets to know everybody, and everybody gets to know him, and then the following year you might bring in another couple of guys, and it seems like you just keep the family intact.
Wearing jersey 11, Bob McAneely. Number 12, Glenn Slatsater.
He did play on 6 teams in 10 years, so he obviously wasn't the most talented guy in the world.
You guys are too young to be out here with us old farts.
But in order to play 10 years in the NHL, you have to have a certain forte, and obviously his forte was his desire to play.
You want to play that kind of style? What year is this? 1971. Do they have a nickname?
Yeah, the gag line.
Why was that?
Goal a game line.
There you go.
Did they get a goal a game?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I think that if the one thing that I do in this team is that I set most of the emotional tones for the club, because I'm competitive and I don't like to lose, and I'm proud of what I do, and I want the team to be the same way. I don't want them to quit. I don't want them to give up, and I don't want losing to be something that they'll accept. And that's, I mean, the guy that runs the team, I mean, you set those kind of tones for the club. You don't, you know, I don't want to be second best at anything that I'm going to do.
The type of player he was is exactly the way he coaches. An instigator, an agitator, as he does on the bench.
2 minutes,
And he played with his heart, and he played with lots of emotion.
And I say I'd rather have an arrogant guy working for me than somebody that's a wimp. I don't think wimps are successful. If you want to be successful in anything, you got to believe in yourself, because no one else is going to do it. And if you don't do it yourself, then you can rely on everybody else that's been unsuccessful, and you can sit around the bar together and cry about it. But if you're going to do it, you do it by yourself. Takes some guts to do that.
There's no doubt in my mind that he sort of cultured us along the way. And ask the guys now, and they might say, well, we did it all on our own. I mean, we learned about the theater in New York on our own, and we learned about restaurants. And a lot of teams frown on that stuff. The old school general managers and coaches, I mean, what's this kid? He should be reading hockey news. He's reading GQ magazine, you know. Glenn encouraged that stuff. He just allowed us to grow. He was almost like a good parent.
Get your hopes up too high.
Yeah, it's a shame, like everybody just stereotypes, and that's, you don't know what type of person you are. But that image I'll carry that, you know, for the rest of my life as Wayne Gretzky's bodyguard. And so that's something you just can't, you can't change that at all.
Come on, Macker. Come on, Smank, hard.
It seems that most of the players' personalities are not at all like their personalities on the ice. And my family tell me, they see Marty McSorley or Dave Semenko, and they see them on the ice, and then they actually meet them, and they go, those guys are the nicest boys. I mean, they're no longer regulators, they're boys. And they just have nice personalities. And Marty, coming from a farming background, coming from a big family that had, great cohesiveness, there was obviously lots of love. Marty's dad pops into Boston every once in a while, or into Pittsburgh, and doesn't phone Marty, just pops in and is just happy to watch his son play the game. And before you know it, he's headed back to Ontario to the farm to sort of let the family know what Marty's doing and what's going on. I think in most cases the players in our teams come from good families, from families that are very together, and maybe that's part of the camaraderie that we've had.
I was just scared I was on my wrong side. I want to get back into play.
No, you're on your wrong side. Stay there until we get possession.
All right.
You were telling me the other day about your definition of tough, your dad's definition of tough.
Well, I'll tell you, city boys, how tough it is. Growing up on a farm. We, back in the field one day working ground, actually planting a crop, and there's a coyote sitting about 40 yards outside the bush, just keeping an eye on us. She had a den inside the woods. And the dog's back there running around with us. We had the flat rack back there with all the seed on it. The dog figures he's going to take off after the coyote. So he takes off after the coyote, and the coyote kind of lopes in the woods. I'm driving around the tractor. About 10 seconds later, you see this dog come charging out of the woods and the coyote right on his tail. Dog flies over to the wagon, jumps up on the wagon, away from the fight. The coyote's sitting about 30 yards away from the wagon. Well, my dad sees that and he peels over to the wagon with the tractor, jumps off the tractor, grabs the dog by the scruff of the neck and throws him right back out into the fight.
Get out there.
Get out there.
If it doesn't hurt, don't cry. That's tough.
Do that to him, Marty. You know I'm not going to pick on little guys.
Misconduct's handed out here, guys.
We had already started developing a sort of an image as the Los Angeles or the Oakland Raiders of the NHL. I mean, there was a lot of reclamation projects, and Glenn, you know, over the years had brought in players that other teams had sort of given up on, more because of public problems than anything else, nothing to do with talent.
Oh boy, am I get gray hair yet?
Glenn knew the personnel in our team. He knew the guys. He knew that a Craig McTavish would be accepted with open arms. I mean, we're all human, and we all realize that we're susceptible to error.
Well, he got in trouble in Boston. He had a car accident, and a girl got killed, and he got charged with vehicular homicide and spent a year in jail. And I was reading a protected list, which the league sends out every couple of weeks, and it's a reserve list, which everybody has their properties on this list. So I study these lists all the time and try to find somebody that's missed somebody, and his name wasn't on it. So then I, found where he was in Correctional Institute and called him, and he said, "Yeah, I'd like to come."
This is what it takes to win the Stanley Cup. 12 stitches in the head.
That was pain-free. You're the best.
I was happy to get a chance to play here, but I like to think it's a two-way street too, that I contributed it and played a part in it last year.
That wasn't pain-free.
You know, whenever you have a group of people and they're young people, young players that have that much talent, they're not married, you know, single guys, young guys, getting it all at an early age, and you think they're cocky and arrogant.
Somebody, who wants to wear this? Come on. Guy gets a $1,000 bonus if he wears this.
Yeah, I wear that.
I wear it. Come on.
That's great. You want to wear
I'm
my
not even Catholic.
Well, you know, even when I go back to Boston now in the summer, I talk to players from Boston, Gord Kluzak and so forth, and, you know, we're good friends, and he'll say, well, I was happy to see you had a good year, but Jesus Christ, the rest of those guys, I mean, we're hated.
Hey, Merrill
Stubing.
We're going to be facing the other way, guys.
Billy got an extra large in this one? Really?
Picking up one notch now.
Messi is certainly the soul of the team. He's very capable of showing his emotions and letting people know where he is. And a lot of times people are question those emotions and whether or not they want to get too close to a guy who appears to be as ferocious as he is. His talents are obvious, but to know that this guy's genuine and he desperately wants to win.
And okay, but maybe it's not such a challenge that you got to go out there and match
But that's
this or match that. But you have a challenge. You can't tell me you don't have a challenge in your own mind that when you step on that ice, that you have enough pride and a challenge to go out there and to challenge even yourself if it's a challenge.
Well, I go on the ice and I have fun. I do. That's the only way I can sum it up. And all I'm trying to say to you is that I can have fun playing with you and him and